Hello, I welcome here on our screen.
Hi, I can see the audience and me on the theater screen.
Yeah, you see the audience from the back, and they are just trying to say hi from, I don't know if you can see them. First of all, thank you for to be here with us, although virtually speaking, but it's really an honor for us to have you here and to have the possibility to know something more about your beautiful dream. And I will ask first for the translation. Avete bisogno di traduzione? O meglio, se c'è qualcuno che ha bisogno di traduzione, alzate la mano così la facciamo tutto l'interpretariato più o meno per bene. Nessuno ha bisogno di traduzione? Siete tutti a posto con l'inglese? Perfetto, lo sapete tutti sicuramente meglio di me. Io mi farò aiutare da Marina comunque, che è più brava, almeno per fare le domande mi faccio aiutare un po', quindi magari le dico in italiano, poi lei le traduce. La prima è rispetto al punto di partenza, diciamo, del film. Ho trovato che è molto forte in questo film il senso del rapporto fra le generazioni e il senso del tempo che passa, delle cose che cambiano. E volevo sapere appunto se Gia fosse partita dal desiderio di raccontare questi temi oppure da un'altra direzione ci fosse arrivata.
Hi, Gia. This is Marina. I'm just going to help out a bit with English. We'd like to know, in the movie you explore a few themes like the relationship between different generations and also the passing of time and how things change over the course of time itself. So if you really wanted to address these issues from the very beginning, or if you just got there from different directions.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like there was always a tone of nostalgia with the film, but it wasn't sort of till I really immersed myself in the experience um, that I could really recognize that this movie also represents the kind of analog versus the digital, how our culture so effortlessly can discard, whether it's humans, women, technology, artistry, landscape, and architecture. You know, Vegas is such a symbol of that in its own landscape. You see the Tropicana being demolished and new things like the Sphere pop up. So that's why I made certain choices like shooting on 16 millimeter film to sort of also embody that kind of mentality.
Thank you. La mia seconda domanda è invece relativa al fatto che abbia voluto andare dietro le quinte, quindi rappresentare i lavoratori, anzi le lavoratrici, quindi questa attenzione proprio su ciò che c'è dietro lo spettacolo. Solitamente vediamo solo il risultato, invece lei ha voluto raccontare la vita quotidiana di chi lavora e soffermarsi molto su questo, e volevo appunto sapere se anche questo fosse stato uno dei motori, diciamo, per lei per raccontare questa storia.
So in the film you focus a lot on the day-by-day work of people who are normally just perceived through their final output, like in this case the performance, the show, but you show a very human behind the scenes. So was it like a topic very dear to you, were you drawn especially to it?
I've always loved Las Vegas. And when I would go there and take photos when I was a photo major in college, I was so curious of what it must be like to live in this very unusual city. What is life like behind that kind of facade? And then I came across my cousin Kate Gerston's script, which really depicted that life, um, as well as it being this very human mother-daughter story that I also related to because I was raised by a single mom. But it was also a world about showgirls, which was so interesting to learn about, that showgirls are a symbol of Las Vegas, yet that show doesn't exist. And I was really intrigued to understand what happened.
Thank you. La mia terza domanda, poi però passo la parola a voi, quindi preparatevi e soprattutto non abbiate la classica timidezza del primo momento, perché sennò poi, come al solito, arrivano le domande quando è ora di andare a casa. E la mia terza e ultima domanda è, lei ha già anticipato che ha girato in 16 mm, e oltre a questo, che si spiega appunto un po' con questa aria nostalgica che ha il film, c'è anche da dire altro, centro, credo, sulla fotografia, e in particolare il fatto che è molto usata la camera a mano, e l'ho trovato molto bello in particolare nella prima scena, o meglio la seconda dopo il flash forward, in cui noi entriamo davvero insieme a queste ballerine durante la preparazione di questa durante la preparazione del ballo e durante la preparazione della cena. Siamo con loro proprio perché c'è anche questo girare fra loro della camera tenuta in mano. E volevo sapere qualcosa di più appunto sulla fotografia e su come hanno fatto le loro scelte, lei e la DOP. Grazie.
So this is a bit of a more technical question. You've already mentioned that you've shot in 60 millimeter film, but also you make loads of use of handed camera work, especially in the beginning, which is very moving because you follow the characters very closely and you allow the viewers to empathize with them and to be introduced to them very, very vividly. So if you could tell us a bit more about this choice.
It wasn't too much of a conscious choice other than a budgetary cost, because I was so adamant about shooting film. And Autumn was as well my cinematographer. Uh, we had to sort of strip down a lot of other things like lighting and just opt for being handheld, but that was okay because we were really sort of chasing after the Cassavetes model and making sure that we could make this movie really intimately, but also and be really nimble and on the go.
Thank you. A questo punto passo davvero il microfono a voi e vediamo, ecco qua, potete fare come volete le domande in italiano o in inglese, come preferite.
We are just going to move on with a few questions from the audience, if you have a few more minutes.
Sure.
Hi, I don't know where you can see, but I'm Tiziano, and my question, I think, it's not very thought, but how did you reach Pamela Anderson? Like, did you thought about her writing the movie or producing the movie, or did you found her through the casting? Because I think it's a pretty good choice. Like looking back at her career, I love her, but I think she's kind of stigmatized as the 90s pretty girl. And I think it's a really good choice. I love her.
Thank you. Yeah, I love her too. Kate wrote the script 10 years ago, so Pamela wasn't, and it was originally a play. And when I came on board, no one really felt right for the role of Shelley. And Kate's husband, in fact, told me to check out Pamela's documentary that was streaming on Netflix. And that really became kind of an aha moment of like, there's Shelley. She's the only person that can play Shelley, and I have to find a way to um, get her on board. And so I'm very grateful that it all worked out.
Was it difficult to have her?
No, she's not difficult at all. I just in order to access her agent at the time had turned me down, so I had to find another route to get to her.
There is another question here.
Thank you so much. As a filmmaker myself and a mother juggling a career, I really appreciate how the courage with which you affronted these sort of taboo topics. So thank you. And I'm curious what you're working on next.
Thank you. No, I am happy when those themes resonate because it's very hard to be a working creative mother. But we made this movie in last January. We released it this January, so it's been a pretty crazy whirlwind, and so I'm happy to sort of have a moment to digest and be with my family and think about what inspires me next. So, a few different irons in the fire, but I'm not sure which one will happen first.
Thank you. Another question here.
Hi, about the motherhood theme. In the movie, I noticed a very important theme, and I wanted to ask if it was supposed to be as relevant as I felt it, or it was just secondary, which is the fact that motherhood in the movie is detached from the romanticized idea of mother as a savior and like this superhuman. And I felt that the character of Pamela Anderson was very human indeed, and a mother as not the first thing, but like a human and a mother secondly. Was it supposed to be as relevant, or is a secondary theme, you think? Like, can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't have been able to tell the story had I become a mother myself, and I was able to really recognize that identity crisis that I think some women go through. And I loved that she was a character that wasn't always morally right, and complicated and flawed, and also the sort of systemic things that are against women when they want to be creative and mothers. And I saw both point of views, the mother and the daughters, and I never want to sort of dictate a point of view of something right or wrong. I just want to sort of shed light on life, which is gray and nuanced, and there is no sort of definitive idea. And that only became more apparent as I was working on this and talking to all the female cast, Pamela especially, and our writer Kate, and just diving into the material from all of our perspectives.
Thank you. C'è qualche altra domanda? Eccola.
I thank you for the movie. I really appreciate it. One observation and one question. The observation is that I found the movie very rich because there are several topics mixed together very well. Some have been mentioned by people that spoke before me. And I felt strange because I thought this is an American movie, but it's not American. In a sense, I felt it was an American movie, but in many other senses, I thought it cannot be an American movie. This was my observation. And the question is, because seems that you are relatively young, and the movie is also about people with many people that have many years more than you. The question is if working at this movie somehow changed something inside you. If the movie made you made the movie, but the question is if the movie made you, moved something, made you to evolve, to change in some way.
For sure. I think everything you dive into changes you and takes a piece of you, and you also take a piece of it with you. I also had a very lovely experience making this movie and created really strong relationships with my cast and my crew, and that's something I'll cherish forever and have these people in my lives. and to dive into this narrative. I don't think I would have thought about these intricacies had I not really taken this path. So I'm opened in that way for sure.
Thank you. Ci sono altre domande? Marina, forse vuoi chiedere tu qualcosa?
Yeah, we have one last question. Going back to motherhood, I felt like you gave like a double twist on motherhood itself, because you show Pamela Anderson as the mother of a daughter, but also in a way as the mother of her younger fellow colleagues. So was it intentional, like this sort of parallel translation of the same thing?
Yeah, that was always very apparent in the script, was the sort of family that you create in your workplace versus your actual family. And how she's been sort of assigned this maternal role to women that aren't her daughter, but then also very absent to her actual sort of blood relations. But also all of that was in a way trying to be of service to her daughter by doing what was best for herself. She had thought that that was what was best for her child, and you know, in some extent that makes sense for parenting, but maybe she took it a little bit too extreme. And but I always toyed with that, with the sort of parallels of her motherhood in the workplace versus her real life.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ok, se non ci sono più altre domande, io in realtà ne avrei una ultimissima, se vuoi dirgliela tu Marina, è rispetto alla musica. Il film ha degli aspetti, dei momenti molto drammatici e molto accompagnato in quei momenti dalla musica. Volevo sapere, e in questo è molto classico, volevo sapere, si sa da sempre che Cassavetes è un po' un suo punto di riferimento, volevo sapere per questo aspetto in particolare della musica quale fosse, se ha un'ispirazione nella storia del cinema, diciamo.
Okay, so actually, this is the last question about the music in the film, because the most dramatic scenes are pretty much accompanied by music, which plays a major role, and this, in a way, is quite a classical choice. So we'd love to know if you have a specific reference for that, soundtrack-wise.
Well, in terms of the score, Andrew Wyatt is someone that I really admire and was so lucky enough to collaborate with him. And I really deferred to him of what he felt was right for our movie, what it was going to sound like. You know, Vegas is a very sensory overload environment, and he kind of gave me this beautiful haunting fairy tale, which felt so appropriate to who Shelley is. It felt very emblematic of that. And then with the sort of needle drops, Total Eclipse of the Heart was sort of a by chance moment where when we were in the casino, there's constant music 24/7, and that song had come on, and Jamie had said, "Oh, I think this would be Annette's song." And I sort of took that as, oh, does that mean you want to dance? Because we were witnessing some of the Bevertainers also doing these dancing on this podium. And it was a spur of the moment thing. I just asked her to jump on the podium and do a dance. She wasn't prepared at all. It was one take. And it was brilliant that I was like, okay, well, now I have to find a way to get that song and put it in our movie. And it feels right to have songs that the characters would have listened to. So I kind of tried to keep that throughout in my mind of when we have little moments of needle drops like that, or the end sequence with Miley Cyrus. It was like you want something that bridges the nostalgia and the modern, and she feels like such a representation of having such a classical, timeless voice, but being this amazing talented singer of our time. So to have something original and unique to our movie was such a privilege.
Thank you very much. So, and thank you also from Be Water, the distribution, and we also thank them because they helped us to have you here tonight. So really, it was really very interesting to go a bit deeper into your movie and what is backstage in it, and so. Nothing. We wish you brilliant next work for your next movie, and thank you very much for being here tonight with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gia.
Ciao.
Ciao.
People are clapping. You don't hear them because the microphone is not panoramic, but they are. Thank you. Bye bye. Grazie a tutti.
Grazie.
Grazie, buonanotte.